I came to the Bahamas basically to show support to Nicole Scott for her wonderful and ingenious idea to help women rejuvenate their hearts over Valentine's Day. First of all, I don't really take a lot of responsibility. When I write basically to liberate myself. And if I liberate myself, hopefully, if I arrive at a different place than when I started the book, then that's how I know. I feel differently. I feel empowered. I feel a sense of grace. And what I do is share that with the world through my writing. And if other people can relate to it, then they experience it on some levels too. And then, but I have no way of knowing. It's like, it's not like being in a concert where everything is immediate, like this call and response thing. When you write, you're alone, and then when you put it out into the world, you don't know what people are feeling when they're reading something on a page. And then they tell you, and you just are grateful. I am. I never wanted to become a writer. I don't think that it's something that you should aspire to be honest with you. I think it's a much more organic thing. You just do it. It is almost like a call and response. I see writing as channeling. And in a way of channeling, I see it as a way of God working through you. And it's me speaking on behalf of other people, and in my case, a lot of women, and even in some cases, men, and I deal with their issues and their problems. My terrain, I feel, is emotional. That's my turf. Some people are politically motivated, and my terrain is emotional. And because I feel like on this level, if we're messed up, you can't go much further than this. This permeates into all other areas of our lives. If your heart is broken or crushed, or you are spent, you're devastated, you're lost, you're hopeless, all of that stems from here. And if this isn't healing or healed, there's not much further you can go. When my first book was published, it was called Mama, and you know, I sold 9,100 copies. And as a first novel, a lot of people don't know about your work. But back in 1987, which is when it was published, there weren't a lot of African American writers on the scene at that time, especially contemporary. Alice Walker was out, Gloria Naylor had published, and Toni Morrison. And as far as black women, that was about it back then. Gail Jones, there were people that had come before, but they had sort of way faded into obscurity. Gail Jones did, at least, and she is a great writer. And so by the time Waiting to Exhale came out, I didn't know that book was going to have such an impact. I had no idea. People think that you can write a bestseller. I don't think you can, because no one was probably more surprised by that, about the impact of that book and the sales and all that than I was. No one. My publisher said, oh, this is going to be your breakthrough book. I didn't even know what they meant. And, you know, there are a lot of writers out here who are really, really fine writers. And I read a lot of their works, and they're not all African American. And I have a lot of respect for people. I mean, there are people out here that can write circles around me, and I know it, and I respect them. But we all have voices, and we all have stories to tell. Some of them are valid, some of them are BS, but people pick and choose what they want to. And you can't shove things down people's throat. So Waiting to Exhale just took off. And I think after that book, a lot of people sort of embraced my work. But I've never reread a book that I've written, ever. There's no reason to. But I'm writing the book that I'm writing a novel now, and it is a sequel to Waiting to Exhale 15 years later. And as I was reading it, I was like, I didn't remember any of this. I mean, I didn't remember the people in the families. The things that they did, I would just say out loud, what a stupid woman. What dummies they were. And I couldn't believe that I wrote this stuff, but also on some levels that I actually felt like they did, some of them back then. But that's how I know, thank God, I have grown some, because I could no longer identify with these women, hardly. Oh my goodness, they were, ugh.
Anything that we've not covered that you'd like to say?
Yes. I'm available.